lot of the songs started off more electronic, and then we worked in the organic stuff. I pretty much will start the songs in Logic, you know, with a drum beat or some sort of a vibe, and just start building on that. But the song, at the base of the songs, a lot of them were already pretty electronic. I think one of the biggest challenges for us after we completed the record was to figure out how to play it live. There were a lot of sounds that we wanted to reproduce through analog keyboards but couldn't because they had a charm to them. They were soft synths or whatever to begin with, and so we had to integrate main staging with Logic and Ableton to trigger samples. I think the next thing was just figuring out the parts that were essential to play live and the parts that we didn't really necessarily need to play live. So we brought in, got the two other guys that play with us, Isom and Sean, for Multiinstrumentalists, and that helped kind of fill it. So a lot of times we're switching instruments. I'll play something on one melody and then switch to a drum, and he'll be on the piano, and we kind of have that brought some flexibility, I think, with covering a lot of the ground. I think on stage right now, I think we're using 3 MPK. Sorry, are they 61s?
Yeah, MPK 61s,
yeah.
And then Ponce's got an MPK 25.
I mean, I'd experimented with a couple different MIDI keyboards before deciding on the Akai's. And I think just the way that it's set up is pretty user-friendly. I think it's pretty intuitive, just the way that the layout is, and it seemed to be the most reliable MIDI controller. So that's kind of why we went with that. And then also, it was just good to have the capabilities of having the pads separate from the keys, and the faders, to be able to program, cutoff or release or just like whatever, having effects there, and just it made sense for what we needed to do. Well, I remember when I first wrote that part in Pumped Up Kicks, the pad part that comes in the beginning. I remember just thinking, whoa, this song just took a totally different direction. Because it was just kind of, it was like your straightforward drum beat and then that bass line, which was like kind of just driving, the whole thing, and then all of a sudden the pad comes in and the whole song just goes, and just kind of sits back. And so I remember thinking, like, where's this going? And then the samples that come in, the chopped up vocal samples, again, kind of changed the direction of the song and spun it in a different way.